Imagine walking into a bank on a normal Friday morning. You expect tellers, customers, and the usual routine. Instead, two men dressed in homemade body armor, carrying military-style rifles, storm through the doors. Within minutes, the streets of Los Angeles transform into a battlefield. Police officers dive behind patrol cars. Bullets tear through buildings. News helicopters capture the chaos live on television. And for nearly an hour, it seems as if the police are losing. This is the unbelievable story of the North Hollywood shootout, the bank robbery that changed American policing forever.
The story begins with two career criminals, Larry Phillips Jr. and Emil Matessaranu. These weren't ordinary bank robbers. For years, they meticulously planned heists, studying police response times and security procedures. But they had become obsessed with one idea. If the police showed up, they would be ready. The pair spent months modifying automatic rifles. They wore layers of homemade body armor covering much of their bodies. They even carried thousands of rounds of ammunition. On February 28, 1997, they put their plan into motion. Their target was a Bank of America branch in North Hollywood, Los Angeles. What they didn't know was that this robbery would become one of the most infamous gun battles in American history. Shortly after 9 a.m., the two men entered the bank. Customers and employees were immediately ordered to the ground. The robbers expected to leave with millions. Instead, things began going wrong almost immediately. The bank held far less cash than they had anticipated. Frustrated but determined, they gathered what money they could and prepared to leave. Outside, however, police officers had already been alerted. As Phillips and Matessaranu exited the bank, they found LAPD officers waiting. Most bank robbers would surrender. These men chose something else. They opened fire. What happened next stunned everyone. The robbers unleashed a barrage of gunfire. Officers armed mainly with pistols and shotguns suddenly found themselves facing rifle fire capable of penetrating vehicles and walls. Patrol cars became makeshift shields. Officers crouched behind trees, walls, and anything that could offer protection. Television helicopters overhead broadcast the confrontation live. Millions of Americans watched in disbelief. It looked less like a bank robbery and more like a war zone. The sound of gunfire echoed through the neighborhood. Residents hid inside their homes. Businesses locked their doors. The streets became eerily empty, except for police and the two heavily armed criminals. The LAPD quickly realized they were at a disadvantage. Many officers simply did not have weapons capable of matching the robbers' firepower. Then came an extraordinary solution. Officers acquired rifles from a nearby gun store with the owner's permission. Armed with more powerful weapons, police finally had a chance to fight back effectively. Meanwhile, Phillips and Matessaranu continued moving through the streets, firing as they went. The confrontation stretched on. Minute after minute, bullet after bullet. What should have been a quick arrest had become one of the longest and most intense shootouts in modern American history. Eventually, the criminals began making mistakes. Their equipment was failing. Their ammunition was running low. Police pressure was increasing. At one point, Phillips became separated from his partner. Surrounded and wounded, he could no longer continue. The momentum of the battle shifted. Soon afterward, Matessaranu attempted to escape using a vehicle. But officers had gained the upper hand. The massive gun battle that had terrorized North Hollywood was finally coming to an end. After nearly 45 minutes of continuous confrontation, the streets fell silent. The damage was astonishing. Hundreds, possibly thousands of rounds had been fired. Numerous officers and civilians had been injured. Vehicles, buildings, and storefronts were riddled with bullet holes.
Yet many experts believe the outcome could have been far worse. The event exposed a major problem. Many police departments were not equipped to deal with heavily armed criminals. Across the United States, law enforcement agencies reevaluated their tactics. Patrol rifles became more common. Training procedures changed. Equipment was upgraded. The North Hollywood shootout became a turning point in modern policing. What began as a bank robbery became one of the most extraordinary police confrontations ever captured on camera. For nearly an hour, two determined criminals challenged one of America's largest police departments. The images of officers taking cover behind patrol cars and exchanging fire in the middle of a Los Angeles neighborhood shocked the nation.
But the legacy of that day extends far beyond the headlines. It changed how police departments prepared for extreme threats and remains one of the most studied law enforcement incidents in modern history. And more than 2 decades later, the North Hollywood shootout is still remembered as the day a bank robbery turned into a battlefield. If you want to hear more tales of crimes, subscribe and hit the like button so you don't lose the next videos. Peace out.